Thank you, Mr. President. I thank SRSG Valentine Rugbawiza for her update on MINUSCA and recent developments in the Central African Republic. I welcome the presence of Honorable Foreign Minister of Central African Republic in today's meeting, as well as Permanent Representative of Rwanda. Allow me to begin by expressing condolences to the families of the 3 peacekeepers from Bangladesh who lost their lives earlier this month. We strongly condemn the attack. We also hope for the swift recovery of the injured peacekeeper and other injured civilians. We are deeply concerned at the use of explosive ordnance targeting peacekeepers, and we look forward to an update on the investigations into the incident. Mr. President, the overall political developments in the Central African Republic are indicative of a move towards stability. The national authorities have adopted a timeline of priority activities to accelerate the implementation of the political agreement through the ICGLR joint roadmap. The government has demonstrated political will by continuing to engage with the representatives of the armed groups. The larger region, through regular monitoring of the joint roadmap, continues to play an important role by providing the necessary support. This must continue. We welcome the establishment of a committee to follow up on the recommendations of the Republican dialogue and to offer strategic guidance to the presidency. We reiterate the significance of this process and underline the need for making it as inclusive as possible. We also commend the increasing deployment of public officials throughout the prefectures and the efforts towards the gradual extension of the state authority. We welcome the endorsement by President Todera of a national security policy and a national strategy for security sector reforms, emphasizing governance, accountability, and coordination of actors in the security sector. Mr. President, we commend the steady progress made towards the local elections with the conclusion of the electoral mapping by the National Election Authority of Central African Republic. In line with the commitment expressed by the government to hold local elections in 2023, it is important that necessary legislation is passed in due course to enable other formalities to follow. We underline the importance of for the international community to support these efforts and to provide necessary support so that these elections are held as planned. Despite the progress being made, the security situation continues to remain volatile. Armed groups continue their relentless attacks against civilians, national forces, and MINUSCA peacekeepers. They continue to dominate mining sites and impose illegal taxation on the civilian population. Security violations of the peace agreement by armed groups have again increased in the last 4 months, and we unequivocally condemn these violations and attacks. It is important to be vigilant and ensure support to the government so that the gains made politically are not undermined by unlawful activities of armed groups. The DDRR program must see further success, for which sustained financial and developmental support by partners will be necessary. Mr. President, we are concerned by the deterioration of humanitarian situation in the country, which has been aggravated by violence, rising commodity prices, fuel shortages, and severe flooding recently. The displaced communities, including those taking refuge in neighboring countries, continue to suffer. We urge for the scaling up of humanitarian response efforts to expeditiously meet the needs of the vulnerable and displaced. The implementation of Status of Forces Agreement need continued attention, particularly movement of peacekeepers. Both mission leadership and the government need to take further measures to ensure safety and security of peacekeepers. We also call for swift action on part of all stakeholders for expeditious implementation of the provisions of UN Security Council Resolution 2589 to bring the culprits to justice and establish accountability of crimes against UN peacekeepers. In this regard, we have taken note of the 28 ongoing investigations by national judicial authorities into attacks against peacekeepers. In conclusion, Mr. President, the Central African Republic needs our collective attention as it navigates a tenuous journey in its pursuit of peace. The worsening economic and fiscal situation, compounded by the global rise in prices and shortage of essential goods, is bound to make this task more challenging in the days to come. On our part, India will continue to support the Central African Republic and its people in their quest for peace, stability, and economic development. I thank you.